Alright, so the first thing you want to do is put the structure together. It comes with 4 of these longer poles. They're all the same size. They're labeled A. And then these are the back poles, they're labeled B, and then those go across, they're labeled D, and then you'll see the top 2 other top ones are labeled C. And it comes with 4 of these corner pieces, and then 2 corner pieces that have these ankle pieces attached, and then there's 2 more of the elbow pieces. And it comes with a heater, a CO2 heater that attaches to the tank, and some washers, and then also this regulator and some blue hosing, and then this hosing which attaches to the suit. And then the control mechanism, which is all you do with this is it has a remote control, and you press vacuum to turn the vacuum on, and it vacuums out the air for about 3 minutes, and it turns off automatically without you having to press the button. And then it releases CO2 in there for another 3 minutes automatically. If you need more CO2, you just press the green button to turn it on and then off. And that'll only go on for 1 minute at a time. So you press it and it will have CO2 going for 1 minute. If you don't stop it by yourself, it'll turn off for safety reasons. So first thing I'm going to do is put the structure together. And I'll take 2 of the corner pieces, and this part with D goes on the bottom, and then this part right here, and then you just push down really hard, just make sure everything's tight to make your structure stable. So push down, and then you put the A pieces, again push down, another A piece, push down, and then you set it on the ground, and then you put your back pieces on, which is the letter B. Okay, and then put 2 more corner pieces on. And another piece D goes across. And then what I like to do is I like to flip it over and push down as hard as you can to get it really tight. Push down here, make sure all your connections are very tight. And then piece C, you go like this. And again, I'll put the elbow pieces on first, or the elbow pieces. And then you can flip it over again and make sure you press down really hard as you can, maybe 1 at a time. And then you put the bottom corners on, which you want this to be facing up like this. Okay, and then take another D piece, which goes, again, it goes across. And then again, you're going to want to flip it on all sides and push down as hard as you can in each direction to make sure that your structure is very solid. And then you will put this piece on. This piece is the diagonal piece. It's also labeled A, similar to the bottom piece. And this one has a lever in the middle. And make sure it's really tight. And another side. And these can go on either side, it's up to you. It depends if you're right or left-handed, whatever's easier for you. And then we have it structured together, and again I would flip it over and press it down. Make sure this piece you want to turn it so that it's facing straight up. This is where the bar clips in. So this is the bar that has these holders on it, which you'll see what that's for in a second. So you just push it in there, in here, and then there's your bar. It just flips up. Get this. When you're done with that, you can flip it over like this. And this will hold both remote controls. One's for controlling the heat of the sauna, and the other one's controlling having the vacuum and the CO2 function. You can also, what I like to do is I add a water bottle here, and maybe a holder that we can also put a remote control in, something like that, if you're watching TV, and potentially a phone holder too. So I'm just going to put this off to the side now, and then I'm going to take the BodyStream sauna and just bring it right through the middle. And sometimes it's easier if you have two people to do this. So you just strap it right here on the Velcro. And there are some straps here on the bottom too. This prevents the material from pushing in like that. You don't have to use these if you don't want to. There's another one back here. You can strap it on right there. And another one in the front here as well. I like to put this like right here around the corner. I'm just going to finish putting the rest of the straps up here. Now it's ready to go. The next thing you want to do is you want to take the chair, which you'll have to assemble it. It's a little hard. The poles go in there. These poles will come apart, and everything's all folded up. It's comes with instructions. Pretty self-explanatory. So first thing, this is the heating the feet. And just while I'm in here, there's 3 other panels for the sauna in there. They have tourmaline stones on there for the negative ions. And then also there's this interior layer you can take off. It goes into the sleeves and everything, and it goes right here. And then what you can do is you can take that out and you can wash it. So when you get sweaty in there, you can take this part out and wash it in the washing machine. But in addition to that, what I like to do is I always put a towel on my chair. I put another towel next to me so that when I'm done with the sauna, I can wipe my whole body off before I get out and before it touches anything. So I always have like a few towels. I have one that I put around my neck too so that the sweat doesn't get onto the sauna suit itself. Get all the feet in there, and then you kind of flip it up. And situate it pretty far back as you can. And then I'll take the pole and bring this around this way. And then this has this square in the back, and you just press the red button and you pop it in there. Like that. Now it's in there pretty good. And you can adjust this. It comes with an Allen wrench, which you can, what you do is you take this part and you loosen it, and then you can slide it over. It'd be a little better if it was a little bit over that way. And then the remote control comes with this box. This is the controller. So you're going to take this and take the square again and push it with the red button in and have it click in there. Maybe twist it there so it's right in front of you. And then you'll take the white hose and all you do is slide it on here, and then you take this gray valve and you push it in there. A lot of times when you push it in, you're not in the right spot, so you just gotta twist it over it one more time, and then push in and twist. Make sure that's connected good. All right, next thing I'm going to do is set up the tank. And this is a 20-pound CO2 tank. It'll probably last me about 9 or 10 baths. So first thing you want to do is put the heater on. And make sure you put the white washer in there, like that. Make sure it's flat. And then you twist it on like this. You gotta pull out while you're doing it so it's flat. And then you put the second regulator on, which is this one, and again you put the white washer in there. And then tighten this one first. Kind of hold this while you're doing it, and then tighten this one. Kind of hold this up while you're tightening it. Doesn't have to be like super tight. And then test it. You don't want to stand in front of it in case it like shoots off. So it's all connected. So next thing I'm going to do is put the blue tube in. All you do is just push it in like that. And if you want to take out the tube, you push in this blue ring. And you pull out at the same time, just like that. But to push in, you just push in, you don't need to press anything. And then you bring the tank over here. And what I do is I always keep the tank right next to the thing, to the BodyStream, because if you're in there and you're stuck in there and somehow the regulator is leaking, then you can reach over and you can turn the tank off. You should always have someone with you in case anything should happen like that. But if it leaks, you just want to stay calm and reach over and try to turn the tank off, and get out of the suit if you need to. Next thing is to take this blue hose and push it into this white ring. Works the same as the other one. To remove it, you push it in and pull out. And then before you get in, you want to turn it on, make sure every time you want to turn it on, make sure there's no leaks. And I can hear a little bit leaking there, so I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. Then stop leaking. Turn it on again. Again, when you turn it on, do not stand in front of it, because if for some weird reason you put it on really incorrectly, then it could shoot off into you potentially. So you want to listen for any leaks, and I don't hear any leaks, and at the machine too. Make sure there's no leaks at the machine. And we're all good. These heaters tend to get loose easier than the regulators, so you want to, every time you want to make sure that there's no leaks when you do it. And then the next thing is this is the CO2 heater. So you're going to plug that in to the, you probably need an extension cord because the heater for the regulator is very, the cord for the heater is very short. And then make sure you unplug this every time after your use, otherwise it's going to keep on heating when you're not. And then next you plug in the black electronic controller. And when you do that, you just want to test it before you get in there. Make sure the vacuum works. CO2 works. Perfect. And then the next thing you want to plug in is the sauna itself, the one that controls the heating panels and whatnot. And okay, so you just plug in the sauna part of it. And this is connected to this black box, and this is a little bit loose on here. You don't have to worry about that. It's not, doesn't mean there's a leak or anything. That's just the way it was designed. We designed it so it doesn't get ruined during the shipping process. And this is the remote control for that part of it. You just turn it on. This is the temperature and the time. So you set the time. Now you're going to set the temperature and the time. And then it will go up to 140 degrees approximately. And then you press the foot. Press it once, that's not very hot. Press it again, it's a little bit hotter, and the third time it's even hotter. So you can kind of like, before you get in, you can kind of, depending on what you want to do, you can have it heat up a little bit before you get in. So now I'm going to get into the sauna. I've checked everything. Normally you're going to want to wear, you're going to have some towels with you, put one around your neck. And usually you'll go in with minimal amount of clothes as possible for your situation. So for this video, I'm just going to take my shoes off. And this is the piece for the neck that you strap around your neck. So what I usually do is I just usually attach it to here. And like I said earlier, you can get a put a water bottle on here and whatnot. And, take that off for a second. I'm going to sit in the chair like this. And then put it over your neck. And then before you zip it up too high, you want to probably leave it about right there. You want to put the neck piece on. So just put it over your neck. Make sure this is up like this. And then have the Velcro facing the outside. And put it through the loop. And then make sure it's tight enough, but not so much that you're choking. And then you can kind of fold this over, and then make sure this is up high enough, and then put your arms through the sleeves. And you wanna, the arms are short on purpose because it gets pretty sweaty in here. See, when you have really long arms, it's pretty uncomfortable. But you wanna make sure you can turn the tank off if you need to, and turn it back on. If you're in here and all of a sudden it starts leaking for some reason, you can just reach over. Make sure you can, before you start your session, make sure you can reach the tank if you're doing it by yourself. So turn it on, and then you want to zip it up all the way. And some people, they get to here and they think that they're all the way, but there's still a little hole right there. So you need to keep going past that. Make sure it's zipped up all the way. And then you got your temperature and timer here. And you could have your water bottle here. You can just grab your water bottle, TV, remote control, or phone or something. I like to relax while I'm doing it, so I try not to be on my phone. But maybe I'll watch something on TV. So first button you're going to press is the vacuum button. And it's going to vacuum for about 3 minutes. And then once the vacuum is done, it'll automatically turn the CO2 on. And then it'll also run for 3 minutes and then turn off by itself. And the purpose of the heater is so that the regulator doesn't freeze up because it's using a lot of CO2. When CO2 is depressurized, it'll turn it to dry ice, so it'll freeze up the regulator. Alright, so it's about 3 minutes and it still needs to fill up a little more. So I'll press the green button again for the CO2 and it's going to run for 1 minute, and if I want to turn it off earlier, just press it again. You can see the hose is starting to freeze up a little bit. Even with the heater. So if it freezes up too much, then you want to turn it off for a little bit and then wait for it to thaw out. So I just turned it off. I see it freezing up somewhat, so I'm going to wait a few minutes, and let it thaw out a little bit before I continue filling it up. But my body is already pretty covered with the CO2 anyways, but I'd like to get it up to about right there, so it's covering my shoulders too. Alright, so I've let it thaw out for a few minutes. I'm going to add some more CO2. Just pressing the button again. Alright, that's probably good enough. And then what I like to do is I like to take my hands out of the gloves and just rest them on my lap. And if I need to do something, I can quickly put my hands in. If I need some water or something. Again, make sure you can grab the tank if you need to turn it off, on or off, if there's an emergency or something. And you can also control the temperature, turning it up or down. If you get too hot, you can turn this off right here. And then I usually like to do like 45 minutes to an hour per session. You can do it shorter if you want to. After the session, what you do is you just take the zipper and unzip it. Kind of pull it up as you're doing it. And then let all the CO2 out. And then take your hands out of the gloves and reach up to the neck and unzip it, and you can save it here for next time. And then make sure all the CO2 is out before you put your head in there. And take it out, and then you can get over here like that. And the things you want to do afterwards is make sure you turn the CO2 tank off. That's the most important thing. And if there's any extra pressure in there, you could just press this button, let it out. Or you can also do the safety relief valve, and that lets the pressure out too. And then I like to turn the machine off, just unplug it. And also the this box right here. And then you want to make sure you always do this every time the CO2 heater you want to turn off. Or you could, if you want to keep those in, you can just, if you have a power strip, you can just turn it to the off position and keep it plugged in.